So that'll go along with it, or?
Yeah, but I think we end the color bottom of the tank instead of running right in the middle. It looks nice.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah. Got the ground,
To the bottom of the
yeah, I
tank.
guess probably about the same as that middle.
Probably, yeah, that probably makes sense.
Okay, I'm good. That's it.
Everyone ready? We want to welcome everyone and call to order the November 10th, 2020 Durant City Council meeting. I just wanted to make a very short statement. As we all know, tomorrow is Veterans Day, and to all veterans of all branches, thank you for your sacrifice, your bravery, and the example you set for all of us. In short, thank you for your service and happy Veterans Day. We're honored tonight to have the commander of our local VFW, Don Pappin, better known as Pappy. He will give our invocation and lead us in our flag salute. Commander Pappin, everyone please stand.
With the VA hearing aids and the mask, it sounds like everybody has a mouthful of oatmeal, so it's hard for me to understand what they're saying, but they can't tell I'm laughing at them because I've got a mask on. So it works well. Before I start, I'd like to invite everybody to come to the VFW tomorrow. We're having a ceremony at 10 o'clock with guest speakers at our normal ceremony. The parade is, has been canceled. But at 1:30, we're having a new event. We're doing a ride for motorcycles and cars. Anybody who wants to participate, we're visiting every home in Durant that has a veteran in it, presenting them with certificates and coins. And we hope to make it bigger next year and just keep building on it. But this is our first year. So for the invocation, bow your head. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day and the opportunity to come together with like minds to take care of the business of this city. Please guide us in our discussions and our decisions. Watch over all those who have served and all those who are serving. We ask this in Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Thank you so much, Commander Pappin. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Scheer. Here. Councilmember Tomlinson.
Happy birthday to all my Semper Fi brothers. I'm present.
Councilmember Morris.
Here.
Vice Mayor Brittingham.
Here.
Mayor Groby.
Here. We all appear to be here, so we have a quorum. Our first order of business is consent items. We have consent items A through G. Any councilman can pull any item or we can approve them as a whole. Are there any items that anyone wishes to pull from the consent items, A through G?
Approval of the.
If no
consent
one
document.
wishes to pull any items from the consent items, do we have a motion to accept consent items? Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Would the clerk please record the vote?
Councilmember Shear,
Aye.
Councilmember Tomlinson,
Aye.
Councilmember Morris,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Brittingham.
Aye.
Mayor Groby.
Aye. Motion carries. Under information items, number 3, we have A through K. These are the different reports from the department. Ask any questions, you may do so at night, right now. If there are no questions,
One question. John, did you see that? It's on this one too. Oh, I'm sorry, on the financial report, that sales tax report. I thought maybe I had a glitch on my computer. All I'm getting is none of the history or any other stuff. There may be a reason. I got quarter cent, the 2 cent, and the total, but with no history. Or what we're up or down. No, you already told me, but this one's the same until I had it on. I don't know if that's, is that, maybe that's how the report's gonna be now. Anyway, just curious as to if that was.
did that answer your question? I couldn't hear you.
I didn't hear an answer. Okay. Is that how the report's gonna be here? With intent. Okay. Is this how the sales tax report's gonna look in? That's all I got. Well, you know, it shows the current to date, the month to month. Until last year. Okay, that's the only question I had.
Okay. We will move on to item number 4, administration. Number A, discussion and possible action and renaming of Oil Mill Avenue. Any discussion?
This item was requested by the son of a person that lived there a long time, Leonard Wallace. And he made the request through Mr. Tomlinson. So the staff had no issue with changing that name. It's a really short strip. It involves 2 pieces of property and 1 actual owner.
Okay.
And just to add to that, Mr. Wallace was a longtime peace officer, law enforcement, from 1952 to 72. And his son actually approached me and with John and staff, and found out it's just a very short street, and nobody will be affected with an address change or anything like that. But if there's no objections, I'll move that we rename the Oil Mill Avenue to Leonard Wallace Way.
We have a motion that Oil Mill Road be renamed Wallace Way. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Would the clerk please record the vote?
Councilmember Shear,
Aye.
Councilmember Tomlinson,
Aye.
Councilmember Morris,
Nay.
Vice Mayor Brittingham,
Aye.
Mayor Groby.
Aye, motion carries. Item 4B, consider approval of Resolution 2020-39, directing staff and legal counsel to take action regarding abandoned cemetery plots. Who will be speaking on it?
Mayor and council, this is something that we've spoken about before, and this is kind of the official way to get this started. Several months ago, Cindy had located the company to come and did some ground penetrating radar out at the cemetery to confirm, which unmarked, that there may be some unmarked, burials out there. That has all been done. And through some really diligent work from Cindy, there has been identified over 1,000 cemetery plots that there is a record of maybe some ownership, but there's not complete records, or that for over 100 years, those plots have not been used. And so in the interest of efficient use of the cemetery, this is a process that we're asking the council to approve to reclaim those lots and then resell them so that they can be used in an efficient manner. This is something that's commonly done. Our ordinances don't provide a method by which to do this. So I think just to clarify everything, we need to go through the district court to have a judicial approval of this. What I anticipate is coming to the council in the next few months with an ordinance that will establish a procedure to determine as abandoned, when a cemetery plot is abandoned. This is something that's also commonly done in some other municipalities, but we currently do not have a process to determine an abandoned cemetery plot. That's something that we need I believe we need judicial approval of. Gives the city some cover if anyone were to come back, later and say that was our family plot. In this instance, Cindy's identified these plots as unused for 100 years. So and we will contact any owners that we may have information for. We'll also do a publication to put the general public on notice, but we don't really expect any objections to the recovery of some of these plots, and this is just the resolution to get this started. But it's, again, this is a result of some really diligent work by Cindy, and it's not necessarily a money-making effort, but it will be beneficial to the city to have some cemetery plots to sell that we wouldn't have otherwise had to sell. And it may, for a considerable period of time, prolong any necessary expansion of the cemetery.
Thank you, Tom. Is there any discussion on item 4B? Are we ready to call for the motion?
Motion to approve Resolution 2020-39.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Would the clerk please record the vote?
Councilmember Shear,
Aye.
Councilmember Tomlinson,
Aye.
Councilmember Morris,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Brittingham,
Aye.
Mayor Groby.
Aye, motion carries. 4C, consider approval of Resolution 2020-40, extending the state of emergency until December 9th, 2020, due to the COVID-19 pandemic. John?
This resolution does extend the state of emergency till December 9th. The biggest change in this resolution from the previous resolutions is the state being able to attend a meeting by tele or video conferencing in the manner that we've done it in the past 8, 9 months has changed, effective November 15th. It's no longer in order. So we will go back to the old way of meeting for all of our boards and authorities. So that's the biggest change of this one.
Okay. Any discussion, or are we ready for a motion?
Motion to approve resolution 2020-40, extending the state of emergency until
Second.
December the 9th, 2020.
We have a motion, we have a second. Would the clerk please record the vote?
Councilmember Shear,
Aye.
Councilmember Tomlinson,
Aye.
Councilmember Morris,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Brittingham,
Aye.
Mayor Groby.
Aye, motion carries. 4D, consider approval of ordinance 1921, amending section 90-40 of the Durant Code of Ordinances regarding the functions of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. And under this D is section 1.
Yes, ma'am.
Any discussion?
This ordinance would just bring the functions of the Parks Advisory Board into line with the advisory capability as opposed to operations. We did this with the airport several months ago. So this one just came up, and so we're proposing that it get changed like the airport was done.
Any discussion? Or are we ready for a motion?
To approve ordinance 1921, section 1.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Would the clerk please record the vote?
Councilmember Shear,
Aye.
Councilmember Tomlinson, Councilmember Morris,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Brittingham,
Aye.
Mayor Groby.
Aye, motion carries. Under D2, Section 2, we have the emergency clause. Do we have a motion?
Motion for ordinance 1921, section 2.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Would the clerk please record the vote?
Councilmember Shear,
Aye.
Councilmember Tomlinson,
Aye.
Councilmember Morris,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Brittingham,
Aye.
Mayor Groby.
Aye, motion carries. Number 4F, consider relief of HVAC permit fees for Lambert. Oh, sorry. 4E, consideration to approve to accept the 2020 Oklahoma Municipal Assurance Group, OMAG, Public Safety Enhancement Grant, awarding the amount of $3,000 to purchase confined space equipment for the Public Works Department. Ms. Becca.
Hello, good evening, Mayor. Even though this is a small grant, I just think it's important to bring everything forward so that the council's aware of what's going on in the public. This $3,000 will provide funding for the Public Works Department to buy the confined space equipment that's essential for their safety. And so just asking for you to accept the funds.
Is there any discussion, or are we ready to call for the vote?
Motion to accept the $3,000.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Would the clerk please record the vote?
Councilmember Shear,
Aye.
Councilmember Tomlinson,
Aye.
Councilmember Morris,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Brittingham,
Aye.
Mayor Groby.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. I would like to make a comment. I'm loving this bright light.
Thank you. Okay, now, 4F. Consider relief of HVAC permit fees for Lambert Mechanical for new construction project at 101 West Louisiana Street. Open for discussion.
John, what do you have, this is a private,
It is a private venture, yes, sir. My experience in the past has been that these things are all done prior to you even relocating or building a new facility. And it's considered basically as an incentive. And, to me, they've kind of done this backwards. I think if you were to act on this and give them relief on fees that the council has already established, I think you would have people lined up here every time they get charged a fee to have it reduced. So that's my opinion as the city manager. So.
John, I just wanted to clarify that this is not the property owner. This appears to be just a subcontractor.
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Danielle, did you want to say something or did John answer your questions?
He pretty much did. I was just here to help answer any questions that you all might have about it since it came through our department first.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Are we ready to call for a motion?
Make a
Mayor,
motion.
you don't have to have a motion. You could take no action and just
That'd be it.
acknowledge the letter.
Okay. On not item number 4F, there will be no action.
I didn't mean to imply that's what you should do, but if you
It sounds good to
want
me.
to
Sounds
approve it,
good.
somebody can move to amend the request. But if you choose not to do it, you can just take no action.
It
I
sounds,
I have a question, Tom. If we take no action, will this party be allowed to present this again in further meetings? Other than taking,
This party could write a letter every day. It's up to the mayor and staff to put it on the agenda if they choose to do that. But ultimately, anybody can request a fee waiver at any time. That doesn't mean that it has to come before council to be.
what if we make a motion to deny this particular request and be represented?
You certainly could do that.
I think that does set a precedence, a strong precedent, right?
To deny or
to deny it.
To deny. Yeah. I do think that's much stronger than just taking no action.
I
Just
would
in
like,
my opinion.
Okay, then we'll call for a motion.
I would like to make a motion to deny this request and point out we got to be real careful how we vote, depending on what we want.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Would the clerk please record the vote?
Councilmember Shear,
voting to deny, aye.
Councilmember Tomlinson, Councilmember Morris,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Brittingham,
Aye.
Mayor Groby.
Aye, motion denied. Motion carries. Now I'm turning around. Okay, next we will recess out of regular session and we will go over into the Durant City Utility Authority. Let the record show that it is now 6:26 and the Durant City Utility Authority is now in session. Would the clerk please record the vote or call the roll?
Trustee Shear,
Here.
Trustee Tomlinson.
Here.
Trustee Morris,
Here.
Vice Chairman Brittingham.
Here.
Chairman Groby.
Here, we do have a quorum. Order of business, consent items. We have two consent items and I believe A and B, and I believe we may need to vote on both. So, or remove them to vote on. Do we have a motion to vote on number A, consider approval of regular meeting minutes of the October 13th, 2020 meeting?
Make a motion to approve the consent items.
Okay,
Second.
we have a motion to approve consent items. Do we have a second?
Very good.
Jerry seconded. Okay, would the clerk please record the vote?
Councilmember, Trustee Shear,
Aye.
Trustee Tomlinson, Trustee Morris,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Brittingham,
Aye.
Chairman Groby.
Aye. Motion carries. Under information items, if there are no questions, we will move on to item number 4, administration. A, consider approval of a graphic design for the water tower at 13th in Arkansas. And I think you want to
Yeah.
talk about that, John?
Yes, ma'am. You have a number of designs in front of you. Brandon Wall has been working with the graphics designer to develop a design for the tank at 13th and Arkansas. It already has the Durant lines on the tank currently, and as staff, we wanted to make sure that we kept that. So you have a number of designs, like I said. I haven't counted them.
There's 7 pages here.
7 of them. So there you go. You have 7. The one that I like, I modified, the last one in your packet. It took some of the frilly stuff off of it. And I think it gives us the ability to increase the size of the D in the lion and, change where it's Durant, Oklahoma is, a dark color. Maybe we make that red or blue. That's the one that I prefer. So if you have any discussion, question.
Is there any discussion? Does anyone else? I numbered mine 1 through 7. And does anyone want to make a motion on which one we might accept?
I have a couple of quick comments. The second one, I'm not particularly fond of the pink magnolia leaves. The 3 with the red line on the blue background, that's kind of hard to make out what it is. In my opinion, it doesn't really look like a lion. So, bad as I hate to say it, I pretty much agree with City Manager John's choice. I like that. I like the idea of the simplicity, and I like the contrast of the colors. I'm certainly not an artist, that's just me.
Anyone else? The only thing I would say is on the one I have marked 6, and John and I talked about it. That's the one where the red lines go up into the tank, and we were talking about stopping the red and blue lines right at the bottom of the tank. So I don't know how in the world we'll vote on this. Does anybody want to make a motion? We accept number 6 or
I move we follow the city manager's recommendation.
7? There's been a motion made. Do we second? We have a second to follow the city manager's recommendations. Sounds good.
Was part of the city manager's recommendation to stop the red lines from?
Yes,
Yes,
Second.
sir.
Second.
we have a motion. We have a second. Would the secretary please record the vote?
Trustee Shear,
Aye.
trustee Tomlinson,
Aye.
trustee Morris,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Brittingham,
Aye.
Chairman Groby.
Aye. Motion carries to allow the city manager to make the decision. Do we have a motion for adjournment out of the Durant City Utility Authority?
Motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Would the clerk please record the vote?
Trustee Shear,
Aye.
trustee Tomlinson,
Aye.
trustee Morris,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Brittingham,
Aye.
Chairman Groby.
Motion carries. Aye. It is now 6:30, and we will now call to order the Durant Airport Authority. Would the secretary please call the roll?
Trustee Shear,
Here.
trustee Tomlinson,
Here.
trustee Morris,
Here.
Vice Chairman Brittingham,
Here.
Chairman Groby.
Here, we do have a quorum. The order of business under consent items, we have A and B. If we need to, number 2, consider the items that we remove from consent items. So do we have a motion to approve? I guess we should pull them from the consent first.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent items.
Okay,
I second.
we have a motion, we have a second. Would the secretary please record the vote?
Trustee Shear,
Aye.
trustee Tomlinson,
Aye.
trustee Morris,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Brittingham,
Aye.
Chairman Groby.
Aye, motion carries. We have no information items, nothing under administration. Is there any new business?
Just a question. Have we hired a airport manager?
Yes, sir, we have.
Will
John Wyatt was the interim, and he has been made the permanent airport manager at this point. So he's done a good job for us at the
Good,
interim
good.
capacity.
Thank you.
Next item, adjournment. Do we have a motion for adjournment out of the Airport Authority?
Make the motion, we adjourn.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Would the secretary please record the vote?
Trustee Shear,
Aye.
trustee Tomlinson,
Aye.
trustee Morris,
Aye.
vice chairman Brittingham,
Aye.
chairman Groby.
Aye. We are now adjourned out of the Airport Authority. We will now go back into the Durant City Council agenda, item number 5, executive session. And we will convene into executive session. Okay, we'll need to vote. Do I have a motion?
Motion to enter executive session.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Would the clerk please record the vote?
Councilmember Shear,
Aye.
Councilmember Tomlinson,
Aye.
Councilmember Morris,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Brittingham,
Aye.
Mayor Groby.
Aye. We are now in executive session, or we're now leaving. Motion carries to go into executive session. Cindy, I kept your pen.
How's that little one that's not so little? My little 2-year-old new grandson is all boy. He's laid back. I mean, he's totally different than even when he was a little. He's pretty much a boy, but he's not like Cade's like yours. It's written all over. It's like I asked you that the other day. I didn't know. Oh. Kate has, it's a strawberry red. He has 2 sisters too. But he didn't get a haircut till his got. But his hair, back then it was curly. But his sister-
Is everyone back? Can we have a motion that we go reconvene back into the Durant City Council meeting? Who made that motion? Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion. We have a second. Under executive session 5A, if I've got the right paper here, there will be no action. We now need a motion for adjournment. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Would the clerk please record the vote?
Councilmember Shear. Aye. Councilmember Tomlinson.
Aye.
Councilmember Morris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Brittingham.
Aye.
Mayor Groby.
Aye. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Everybody have a good evening.